My friends, welcome. This is Archangel. Okay, so we see that gynocentrism and female entitlement are epidemic in today's world. We can readily observe the rampant male devaluation and epidemic campaigns of justifying male expendability surrounding each of us every second of every day. And anyone with a straight face will admit that things are only getting worse for males. The increase in male issue awareness tells the story. More and more males are seeing the injustice and speaking out about it. For instance, here on YouTube, for every cipher who have erased their channel, we have 24 new channels sprouting up. For every channel producer turning shades of purple who gravitate back towards the plantation, reverting to male devaluing paradigms with misandristic female elevating societal protocols such as dating, we have dozens of new channels calling out their corrupted messages and preaching true eschewment of gynocentrism. Then there are those who never really left the plantation at all, yet they want to preach about male devaluation while in collusion with the slave masters. Now, I'm sorry if I offend you by calling out the MGTOW elders and everybody's favorite darlings, but when you catch the pastor sipping on the sacramental wine after finishing a sermon on sobriety, yeah, well, hypocrisy never really works, no matter how brilliant your words are. When someone starts skewing back into male disposal enabling territory, that trespasses onto my mission, and they become opposition enablers. Anyhow, many of them have contributed very good works to the male awakening and liberation movements, and I am not here to sling mud. I simply point out that the problem is escalating and the male plight is getting worse, as evidenced by the rise against male mistreatment in many different forms, from men's rights to MGTOW to even the truths behind the satire of Menonism. All, in their own way, seek to point out inequity towards males. Yet why is gynocentrism and male addiction to female approval seemingly insurmountable? Well, the nature paradigm of why females are favored has been done to death. So we here at Liberation Y seek to bring you thought experiments for your consideration. Today, allow us to take you off the reservation a little bit. Well, actually, a lot of bit. Now, the following musings may seem to flirt well within conspiranoia tinfoil hat territory, so treat the succeeding content as a thought experiment. Alrighty, so I was meandering through some videos, and I came across a video promulgating negative forces that have a vested interest in strife and turmoil on planet Earth. Now, this particular theory states that these beings feed off the negative energy of human emotion, strife, turmoil, misery, sadness, etc. They prefer the energy vibration of negative emotions of humanity. Thus, they have a vested interest in creating as much pain and turmoil on Earth as possible, which translates into Thanksgiving feasts for them. The theory of these Archons goes back to ancient times. In fact, this is not a new theory, yet these negative beings have been called by many different names throughout history. Now, there are many different theories as to their purpose. The one which I came across, which spurned this video, was as follows. In a cosmos of infinity, we are all divine unlimited beings of light or energy, and we can create anything we desire, entire galaxies, by mere thought. So one day, one of these divine beings devised a game and made a galaxy for this game to take place in, the Milky Way, and a planet with rules and conditions for this game to take place on Earth. Now, this game consisted of experimentation with polarity, just for the heck of it, to see what would happen. So we have polarity within this realm, dark and light, hot and cold, male and female, and so forth. Then, this infinite being invited other infinite beings to come and play the positive role in this new game. Yet when you are in this three-dimensional game, you must accept limitations, physics, laws of nature, gravity, etc. Then other beings came to play the negative side of the game. These would be the Archons. Well, we all played this game, and upon exit from the game, which is mortality or human dying, we remembered that it was a game, and many wanted to put another coin in the arcade machine and try again, just for the heck of it. So these Archons eventually gained the upper hand in this game, and they figured out how to usurp energy from humanity in the form of negative emotions. Great, this is a new energy source. So how do we keep the negative energy flowing? We continue negativity and suffering. Well, how do we keep the negativity sufferers from leaving this game? We trap them to continue coming back into the game. And thus the Archons devised a way to trap the players into reincarnational cycles, to keep them coming back to Earth in order that they harvest this negative energy born of human suffering. Thus, they have constructed these heaven realms, where we go upon death and have reunions with our families, or talk to ascended masters or prophets, or meet guides or angels, and have a life review in order that we might be talked into coming back to work on something else, persuaded into giving it another go. This would be much like a player coming off of any field who is met by his coach, which straightens him out and sends him back in, rather than that player realizing that he could straight up walk out of the stadium and never come back to that game if that was his choice. Hence, we have folks on the sidelines to pump you up and give you a pep talk, then send you back into the game with a smack on the butt because they need you to be in the game for their benefit. The Archons can't have batteries leaving the game to go to another dimension or cosmos, so they constructed apparitions of heaven realms in order to keep you there for a pep talk from Buddha or Christ. Then, after a few minutes of rest with a Dixie cup of Gatorade, back in you go. You see, what nearly all religions, all theologies agree on is that we are beings of free will. We choose our paths. We have free will. So in this scenario, we are already immortal beings. We came from infinite greatness. There is nothing we need to come back to Earth to learn. We are already exalted. As many a master has said, look within. Jesus said many times, the kingdom of heaven is within. We are already all that. We don't need to keep coming back to Earth unless we choose to. And thus, because of our freedom of will, the negative forces, the demons or Satan or these Archons, need us to willingly agree or make a soul contract to come back to the cesspool circus of negativity of our own free choice. Hence, they will trick us into coming back of our own volition by showing us negative life reviews and shaming us into getting back into the game to do better next time. Other theories have the Earth as a nursery for brand new souls, a place of experience for new entities. Then along come these negative cosmic types who turn this nursery into a Chernobyl with the same intent, using humanity's negative energy or causing chaos because they have predisposition to chaos and domination. Still others proffer the Satan or negative gods theory that there was a war and that the dissenters were cast out, and so as revenge, or just out of spite, these beings cause suffering and turmoil in humanity and delight in it. Okay, so a lot to digest, but you can see the common theme of antagonism in the form of negative beings weaving its way through nearly every religion or theology or culture throughout history. Nature, too, is a theory of polarities, tumult, and strife, where it is nature that plays the unfeeling, some might say negative role of compelling the carbon game onwards, with no compassion for the weak or injured or disadvantaged. And thus, in the absence of caring or compassion, you could rightfully call nature a negative force from a moral standpoint. Anyhow, the thing is this: females are elevated and worshipped. Males are devalued and disposed of. This is blatantly demonstrable. What we all seek to do is impose some framework or paradigm over this injustice to explain it. This is all I am doing here, encouraging you to think beyond paradigms, beyond the box. However, this Archon theory fits quite nicely with today's paradigm. I will use the term Archon to mean any number of entities that have vested interest in the continuation and continuity of negativity and ugliness on Earth or amongst humanity. Thus, if Archons fed on or otherwise usurped energy resultant from negativity amongst humanity, they would do everything in their power to spur on chaos and suffering. Archons would have a vested interest in gynocentrism. They would do everything in their purview to slander, besmirch, and abuse males. That would cause males pain and suffering. That would spur males who suffer to fight back, causing more discord between these sexes of polarity. And during this War of the Roses, meanwhile, these entities sit back and feed off our strife and turmoil like a little kid sucking down a malted shake through a fancy Mickey Mouse straw. In the context of this scenario, the mounting and ever-increasing discord in the world would make sense. There is something pushing the negativity. Look around. We have the violence of drug cartels or ISIS showing people literally cutting off other people's heads on videos, which get more views than even the most brilliant MGTOW video. We have rabid feminist lunacy. We have war-ravaged countries, and genocides occur regularly around the world. We see human trafficking and slavery still. We have a culture of narcissistic people enabled to be self-interested and apathetic by social media. We can observe an environment ripe with animal abuse, people abuse, planet abuse. And where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Where is this all-loving God to stop all this, to bring justice? Do you see anything getting better? No, you don't. If you're really being honest, nothing is getting better. This is not a glass half full or empty contemplation. This is merely an indifferent analysis of humanity's state of ethics and awareness. We are no more enlightened nor loving than we were a month ago, a year ago, a century ago. In fact, I honestly assess that even though we have grown by leaps and bounds technologically, we have actually digressed ethically and morally. Simply look at the flow of money to see our moral growth as a species. Look at differences in wealth today. The middle class is all but gone. Now we have the rich and the poor, and this stark contrast is only becoming more flagrant by the day. Governments are broken machines and have been for a long time, and corporate greed is rampant. Meanwhile, we have a few brave souls here on YouTube saying, everyone, we use and abuse males and it's not right. Yet in the face of everything else we are bombarded with in this world, it is a wonder we get the viewership of even a few thousand people here. So you look at the state of everything. Yes, there are some good things out there, and humanity is worth fighting for. Yet in the face of such overwhelming negativity, you have to question existence. Now, this Archon model would explain why the ugliness of today's world is so pervasive and only getting worse, because it is being dictated that way by entities that have a vested interest in the continuation and increase of negativity. I came across a video by War Drum's Fire in which he stated that he was pretty certain that Satan was a female, and that God has warned man time and time again in the Bible that women will do you wrong and only drag you down or be the ruination of man, which is why males were to keep females on a tight leash, even to smack them around once in a while so they won't get out of control. I'm paraphrasing here. Many an ancient tale has warned males about females, and maybe this is why Islam is so stringent with females, because they are aware of the havoc females can wreak, and if they don't keep those tigers caged, there will be male suffering. Maybe males are protagonists, and females are the antagonists of this game, and the Archons take great pride in turning the genius, brilliance, caring, and compassion of the male into negativity. They enjoy turning Anakin into Darth Vader, and they use females to do this, because both the greatest and most negative works have come from males. So males are the creative forces, yet if the Archons want the energy they prefer, they must steer males towards the dark side, and they use male weakness, which is females, to corrupt and drag males down. Now, War Drum's video was interesting, and it sounded fairly plausible. I mean, this is a realm of polarity, male and female. If God is male, then the devil must be female, or vice versa. We can't have opposites be of the same polarity. So, getting to the point, these Archons would have a vested interest in male devaluation. These entities want and actively campaign male suffering because they feed off the negative energy that negative emotion elicits in the form of auras. So in this scenario, the matrix really is more accurate than most may understand. For in effect, we humans are the battery or fuel sources for other entities, whether machine or discarnate entities. Either way, my favorite movie, The Matrix, is so much more brilliant and accurate than we may know. Now remember, this is a thought experiment, but mentally chew on it and give it a little imaginational musing. Most awakened and liberated males are more than content with atheism and the nature paradigm and rocks banging together in space explanations. Yet still, even in this scenario, nature is the antagonist, where under the guise of survival of the fittest or species continuance, all manner of violence and mistreatment occurs. This is a landscape where human sentience would be the protagonist, seeking to right the injustices of nature, which is the antagonist. So even in the theater of nature, we invoke good and evil paradigms, much as theology does. Now think about this. No matter what religion you hail or what afterlife theory you proffer, riddle me this. Why can't you remember what happened before you were here? Seriously, consider that question. A loving God would not wipe your mind and expect you to flail about on this planet based upon some book or some theology which tells you how to prove your worth and find your way back. That is a wholly unsatisfying and illogical explanation. Or is it that we have to learn different courses, like in school, and progress through incarnations toward enlightenment? This too smacks of non-logic. You do not wipe a person's mind in between grades in school. Learning is linear. It is based upon remembering what you have learned. Hence, you have foundation to progress onwards. You don't erase a person's knowledge in between advanced algebra and calculus. Now, if nothing else, this Archon archetype would explain the lack of memory. They do not want us to remember our infinite greatness and that we could be out of here and onto other higher realms beyond our comprehension at any time we desire. But they simply can't have their batteries up and leaving, so thus they promote strife and turmoil, which is why it is escalating as years go by. And they have religion teaching us about heaven and hell and what we should expect upon physical death. And thus we tarry trapped in these astral realm holding cells upon death and stay in this heavenly illusion, eventually coming back to earth to be a battery again. Now, this seems crazy, entities feeding off negativity of humanity, and maybe it is. But think about it. Why can we not remember where we came from? There are only two answers. Either one, there is nothing else, atheism is true, rocks did bang together, and we will simply cease to exist when we expire, or two, there are nefarious reasons for our amnesia. Most religious folks will concede the illogical discrepancies here, if they're honest about this issue. This lack of memory and all the faith and proving oneself and being tested or learning explanations, all these answers are flawed and they do not make sense. After much logical thought and introspection, not blind fervency for parroting religious propaganda, but after much reason, this amnesia can only have shady purposes. So perhaps there is some traction to these Archon or negative beings that nearly every culture and philosophy and theology throughout time have talked about. Whether as demons or angry aliens, there have always been Sith characters in every persuasion of human culture. And, of course, these Archons, these cultural Sith characters, would propose and in fact actively advertise male devaluation and disposability. These negative forces want males to suffer. Now, whether they use the negative energy that we exude when we suffer as food, or whether they simply delight in our suffering out of spite because they got kicked out of the mansion in the clouds, either way, Satan, Archons, nature, all are the same in that all promote male devaluation and disposal. So that is my mental chew toy to you, friends, for the day. And here I will give the politician's answer. I can neither confirm nor deny that this is truth or that these represent my personal beliefs. However, either way, there is most assuredly more to male devaluation and disposal than clean, neat little nature arguments. My friends, my brothers, I seek to expand minds. and my passion is to liberate males from devaluation and disposability. My brothers, stand with me, live free.